Hey guys, it's Steph. Today we're gonna change it up a little bit and we're gonna talk Houston sports, my favorite subject, and specifically about the Houston Rockets now that the NBA season is officially over, but kind of where we stand and free agency and the draft, our new coach. So if you'd like to talk about the Rockets offseason with me and a preview of next season, stick around, and if not, I will catch you on the next one. So the first element to this really is the departure of Kevin McHale, the replacement by interim coach Bickerstaff, and now the new coach Mike D'Antoni that's been hired by Alexander and Daryl Morey. Now personally, he wouldn't have been my first choice. I really wanted Scotty Brooks to come and coach us just because he'd coached Harden before for the Thunder and he'd been a Rockets champion before, and I just really felt like he would bring a lot to the city. Kenny the Jet, of course, we interviewed him as well. I understand why he didn't want to give up his cushy job, but those were like my two standouts. I think it's because, you know, I'm such a homer, as you guys know, for the Rockets. I just wanted like a Rockets champion to come back and like take us to the promised land. So D'Antoni, formerly, he was an assistant coach with the Sixers and he was Lakers head coach for 2 years. He's been with the Nuggets, he's been with the Trailblazers, he's been with the Suns, so he's got quite a lot of experience in the NBA as well as being a player. He was in the 73 draft. He was selected by the Kansas City Omaha Kings. He played guard and he's been coaching since about 1990. Now everyone's kind of aware that Rockets are lacking in defense. Dwight Howard, I would say he was probably our #1 defensive player. Harden has no defense, and D'Antoni is very well known for his offensive tactics and expertise. So basically a lot of people have been saying like, bye-bye defense, that's what we really needed. Hiring someone like Jeff Van Gundy would have been really smart because you weren't gonna get the best defense ever, but you were at least gonna have a little bit more of that defensive strategy coming into play. And Harden really struggles with defense, and only once in the Harden era did the team finish 13th in defensive ranking. So that's pretty low. That's on the low scale for sure. Even with Bickerstaff, you could hear him on the TNT broadcast begging for them to play defense. A coach shouldn't have to beg his team to play defense. Like, that's an essential part of the game. But I'm sure that Daryl and Les hired D'Antoni for a reason. We've got to kind of trust in that. The only thing that I'm kind of hesitating about is that D'Antoni is saying that we are basically going to be building around the talent that we already have and we're not rebuilding. And I would disagree with that statement. I think we do need to rebuild, and I know that we have to retain Harden just because of how expensive he is. Personally, I wish that we could just like push that out the door a little bit. I think that this should have been a rebuilding situation and not just building around what we have, because what? The Jets going away, Jason Terry, he's gonna be coaching next year. We've got Terrence Jones, he's gone. Josh Smith, he's a good player. I like Josh Smith a lot. He's one of my favorite players. However, he did not fit in well with the schematic after he came back after being traded the season before. We've got Corey Brewer, who signed the 1-year contract and did not perform. We've got Donatas Motiejunas, who we tried to trade and then the trade didn't go through, and then he had to come back and be like, hi guys, I'm still here. So I can only imagine what that feels like. Dwight just opted out of his contract. So essentially, who are we left with? We've got Clint Capella, that's looking to play center. He's not a very strong center, but he's decent. We have a couple players that still have really good talent to build upon, like Trevor Ariza or Patrick Beverly. You know, at least Bev hustles. Trevor, he's good in the clutch. He comes through and he's got the height. Let's talk about James Harden. Statistically, James is a solid player, but if you're a Houstonian and if you've attended Rockets games, and I don't just mean watch them on TV, I mean like literally attended and watched his behavior, it's a little alarming. And the reason I say that is because the first thing you'll notice is that when everyone gets introduced and they go down and give the high fives and they get to the end and they put the hands in, Harden literally turns around and goes back to the bench and does his own thing. He doesn't go hands in. He is not a leader. He is a very selfish player. When he is down and when he is in a bad mood, the whole team seems to be affected by that, and that is not the mark of a good leader. He's not consistent. He holds onto the ball until there's 3 seconds left on the shot clock and then lobs it off and misses. Sometimes it's a zinger and he makes it, but that's not even 50% of the time. So it's just something to consider. Our star player, we can't really even build a team around because he's not a leader. If we had someone like Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony, you know, a leader on their team to have everyone be inspired by, then that would be a different story. But unfortunately, James is just not that. My question is, how do we rebuild this team? Who do we pick in the draft? And and will that even matter? By the time I edit this and get this up, the draft will already be completed. The only one that I've heard of is an Al Hereford, that's a center that they're looking into, but we've really been unsuccessful in the past couple drafts besides Clint Capella. Isaiah Cannon didn't really work out for us. Sam Decker was injured, didn't work out for us. And who can forget Royce White in 2012? He was something else. So, yeah. And in terms of free agency, I've heard a lot of talk about people wanting Kevin Durant. He's not going to come here. The Warriors are talking about going after him. And if I were Kevin Durant, I would probably go with a team that already has 2 to 3 super strong leaders that are on the team and actually share the spotlight. It's like not the Steph Curry show entirely. It's shared. And it just wasn't like that. James would not fuck with Dwight. And despite even Dwight apparently trying to nurture some sort of relationship with James, he just absolutely refused and just wanted to be in the spotlight 100% himself. So if you don't have that cohesiveness as a team, we're gonna be stuck. And I sat yesterday and spoke with my boss Chris about this, and we could not come up with a solution to the issue. So I really wonder what's going through everyone's heads. As you guys know, like, I'm a super duper Rockets fan. I have been since I was a little girl. We have season tickets, and I just cannot imagine going through another season like last season. It was so heartbreaking to me. In the end, it's either going to completely implode on itself, or it's going to be somewhat decent, or it's pretty much going to be like last season. So if we do swing and miss in this off season, I would definitely be in support of dismissing Daryl Morey and seeing what else we can do with a new GM. At this point in time, it's probably the most important off season in a decade. Without a strong coach at the helm, it's just not going to come to fruition. And I just don't see D'Antoni basically benching Harden unless he does what he tells him to do. I don't see that happening, and that's why Mikal was let go, because he could not control Harden. And despite the fact that Mikal was one of the best defensive centers in the league, and he played for the Celtics, and he was an amazing athlete, but it couldn't happen. And it's weird that they let him go after we got to the Western Conference Finals. I find that really strange and really bizarre, and I just still don't really know the true reasons behind it. And keeping Bickerstaff on as the interim, I'm not sure. But I will say that I do have hope. I always will, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what moves we make and what we can kind of shake up, or I should say dream shake. For those of you who remember my first blog, Dream Shake Barbie, that was fun. Leave your thoughts below. Follow my Instagram and Twitter at Stephanie Joplin or hashtag SJGlam. Would love to hear your thoughts on the subject. What do you think about Dwight's potential departure in free agency? Where do you think he's gonna go? My guess is probably gonna be maybe the Knicks. I'm not sure where he would fit, but I'm gonna guess the Knicks. Do you agree that we are building on the talent that we already have in place, or do you think we need to completely rebuild and kind of start from scratch? I am looking forward to hearing your feedback on this, and I'm looking forward to free agency. Go Rockets, Clutch City, baby. Throwing up the H. Catch you guys on the next one. Rim shot. So terrible.